Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, and welcome to the first round of Sorvin's non-meta tournament number 4. So if you are unfamiliar with these, I have been doing these non-meta tournaments on my channel for the last couple of months, and they're very fun. They go with their own sort of ban list, and you basically just bring your own non-meta strategies, just something mostly casual. You can play competitively in this, which is still really fun and I think pretty like alluring to people. I guess a lot of people do like the competitive aspect, they just don't like the current format. And I think it's a good way to understand a lot more rogue options in the format, as well as understand just like a general idea of how this game works. And it gives you a better insight into it, that something that the normal competitive appeal or the competitive scene doesn't really give you. So it gives this format its own appeal. But if you're interested in playing this, you can go ahead and join the Discord in the top of the description below. It's a very fun community, and we're going to be hosting a 5th tournament very soon. So we do post all the deck lists at the end of the tournament, so you can go on there and take a look at everything, but I'm not going to be giving any spoilers, at least on the main channel. But today we're going to be watching the match between Heroes as well as Witchcrafters down at the bottom. So Hexagon has been playing in every single tournament so far, and he mostly plays meme decks. This time he's on Witchcrafter, and TK Bear up at the top is on Heroes. So he did play in the second tournament, and he got second place. So he did pretty good, honestly, and we'll see how well he does here. So looks like Witchcrafter is going to be going first. I believe TK Bear with the die roll, and Heroes typically like to go second. So he's going to go ahead and normal summon a copy of Shmeta. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Shmeta, maybe? I'm not sure. And he's going to go ahead and use the effect to tribute itself, discard a spell out of his hand, and special summon a Witchcrafter monster from the deck. So he's going to go ahead and grab Madame Vera, which is basically like an Honest, but you reveal spells in your hand and it gains 1,000 attack and defense. It also can apply that to monsters that are on the field, so like besides itself. Then he can go ahead and use Shmeta's effect, Shmeta, I'm not sure, and banish the banish itself to send a Witchcrafter from the deck to the grave. He's going to be sending Patronus, and Patronus can basically add your entire banished zone to your hand. So we're going to be seeing that here as well. So Foolish Buried Goods is going to be discarding or sending By Street to the graveyard. And then he can go ahead and activate Spell Chronicle to discard his entire hand and banish 5 spells from his deck. Most of these Witchcrafter spells do float as well, so like in the end phase they can like either add to hand or like, you know, add themselves back to the field, which we're going to be seeing here. So in the end phase he's going to be using Unveiling to add itself back to hand, and he's going to be using By Street to add itself to the field. And this is really nice because the first time a Witchcrafter would be destroyed by battle, it's not destroyed, also by card effect as well. So just a little bit of protection, as well as a pretty nice thing right there. So next he can go ahead and in the draw phase he's going to use Patronus to go ahead and add all 5 Witchcrafter spells back to his hand. So basically just a +5. Pretty insane card. Then he's going to go ahead and same standby phase and main is good. So Solid Soldier is going to be normal summoned here, and it's going to special summon a Shadow Mist out of TK Bear's hand. Then he's going to use Mass Change to get rid of the Shadow Mist. And then he's going to go ahead and go into a copy of Anki. Shadow Mist is going to search for a copy of a Dust of Gold, and then a Dust of Gold can discard itself to add a copy of Dark Calling. He can use Dark Calling, banishing the Dust of Gold and the Neos out of his hand, and go into a Malicious Bane. Then he can go ahead and Madame Vera is going to go ahead and use its effect, going ahead and discarding a spell out of his hand, and it negates everything on the field. So, or not everything on the field, but everything on the opponent's field. So it's like a blanket skill drain, or like a Forbidden Droplets, I guess. Except Droplet sets it to 0, obviously, so that does not what that card does. Bane is going to go ahead and attempt to swing over, and I'm not sure why he opted to attack with Bane. It's a really odd choice, because obviously he knows his opponent has 5 spells in hand, and if he just read Madame Vera, he would know, hey, his opponent's just going to reel 5 cards, and he's going to take 4,800 points of damage, and his turn is going to be ending right there. So Hexagon draws for turn, drawing into a Foolish Burial Goods, and then he's going to go ahead and use a Witchcrafter creation, which is like a Rhoda, but for Witchcrafters, obviously. He's going to go ahead and add Jenny, which can, I believe all the little Witchcrafters, the smaller ones, they can tribute themselves as well as discard a spell out of hand to special the bigger ones from the tech. I'm not sure if there's a better terminology for that other than little ones and big ones, but that's the best thing I can think of so far. So he's going to go ahead and link off the the Jenny into an Anima, and then the Anima is just going to go ahead and take this Bane. So he said, give me that, pretty much. Relinquish Anima is going to be declaring an attack on Solid Soldier, and then Madame Vera is going to be using the effect, revealing 5 spells in hand. And yeah, that's enough damage. Obviously, that is going to be 8,000 attack on that copy of Anima, which is definitely 6,700 points of damage. So even if he used the Honest Neos in hand, it would still be 4,200 points of damage, which he was only at 3,800. So moving in game number 2, he's going to be opting to go second again. And this Jenny is going to come down, and he's going to go ahead and normal and use the effect, discarding the fusion. And TK Bear is attempting to use Valor here, but there is no good place to use this Valor because Jenny is going to basically dodge the Valor in either case. If you think about it, if the Jenny is normal summoned to the field and then Valor on the normal summon is used on the Jenny, he can chain Jenny because it is a quick effect, and in that point the Valor is just used for no reason. In the second scenario, where the Valor isn't used and he holds the Valor, the Jenny is used to tribute itself, and then at that point, he tributes he can tribute itself, and at that point it's off the field. Then the Valor can't activate. So there's no good way to use the Valor in this point. So obviously, I believe that the turn player has priority on the summon, so he can just use it before his opponent has a chance to respond with Valor. I know that that's not a thing for like normal summon effects, cards that say something like once per turn you can do something, like for example like Vion second effect here, like the once per turn you can banish a hero. So obviously this isn't like turn player priority, but because this is a quick effect, I believe he does have priority, although I'm not sure about that. But anyways, the Valor is not good to use here, pretty much. There's no reason to use it. Then Hayne is going to be summoned from the deck, and he can go ahead and use Fusion's effect to draw a card. Drawing into Foolish Burial Goods, he can send a copy of Unveiling to the graveyard, and then he can use Jenny's effect to copy the Veiling, which summons from hand, summoning a copy of Hayne. Then he can use Souls to send the Golem Maruru to graveyard and special itself from the deck. He can use Souls here to discard a card and draw a card, and this would be a really good spot to use the Valor because there's nothing else you can use it on. So you can at least Souls, since he's discarding a spell, you just negate it and then it discards the cost. So I think that would be really smart for him to Valor it here. Unfortunately, he doesn't. Mistress of Souls is going to be linked off into a Link Rebo, and this Draping is in the hand. Then in the graveyard, or he's going to use By Street to basically bring it back and pass his turn. So drawing for turn, he draws into a copy of Rainbow Dragon. Unfortunately, that's probably the worst top deck that he could have got. He's going to go ahead and use Lightning Storm on the By Street because the By Street protects the Golem Maruru. If he uses the Lightning Storm on monsters, it would just kill the Link Rebo, which doesn't really accomplish a whole lot. He can just attack he can like bait it out by attacking a smaller thing into Link Rebo. So I think destroying the spells was probably the best option here. He's going to go ahead and use the copy of A Dust of Gold to search for a Dark Calling, and then he can go ahead and normal summon this Vion, which is a little bit of an odd choice here. I do realize that he's trying to go for more advantage, which you'll see here in a second, but he could use this Dark Calling to just go into Bane and then just clear the field, and then he just has to put 5,000 more damage on board, which realistically is not that difficult, because he can just use Vion to get Shadow Mist to grave, add Shadow Mist adds, I don't know, anything really. Like you can add an Honest Neos. At that point, you're pretty much set because then you can use the Vion to get rid of the Shadow Mist out of grave, add Poly, and then you can fuse the Stratos and the Vion into a Sunrise, and then search a polymerization, or sorry, not a polymerization, a Miracle Fusion. And at that point, the Sunrise is you'll have a dark monster on the field and a light monster on field, so it's at 29, and then you can attack with Bane, which is 34, 29, and then use the Honest Neos in hand for game. So obviously he has game on board here, but he's going to be taking a different route, which is a little unfortunate. that he didn't see this line of play here. But you'll see here. So he is trying to go for more advantage with Rainbow Dragon, but there's no reason to do that because Hane is literally just like a free pop pretty much by discarding his spell, which also could have been avoided by using the Veiler on the Magician's Souls. So in either case, he could have avoided this entire situation altogether. It's not going to matter in the long run, I don't believe, but we'll see. So Shadow Mist is going to go ahead and add this Liquid Soldier to the hand. And then he's going to go ahead and use Vion to banish the Shadow Mist and search for a copy of Polymerization. Polymerization is going to be used here to fuse the Stratos and the Shadow Mist, or sorry, the Liquid Soldier out of his hand. And then he's going to make a Sunrise. Sunrise is going to use the effect, and Liquid is also going to use the effect. Sunrise is going to search as Chainlink 2, and then Liquid's going to draw, and then he's going to discard this Rainbow Dragon out of the hand. Then he can go ahead and go into a Miracle Fusion to get out a Absolute Zero, and then he can go ahead and use Mass Change on the Ab Zero. Obviously, he can chain this Hane here to either kill the Ab Zero or the Sunrise, which I think that actually he can kill the Vion if he really wanted, but I think the best target here to kill is just the Sunrise, because obviously if you kill the Ab Zero, your field's dying anyways. So yeah, it's just better to kill the Sunrise here. So then so it's going to kill the Sunrise, then the Acid and the Ab Zero are both going to trigger to clear the entire field, his opponent's field rather. And then he can go ahead and use the Dark Calling to get rid of the Odessa Gold and the Rainbow Dragon into a copy of Bane. And right here, this is 6,600 points of damage. So like I said, if he made just a slight different play, he could have pushed for, I believe it would have been like 80 something. I don't know. It would have been a lot of damage. In fact, he could have gone for more if he used the Miracle Fusion, like saved it for a different play. But unfortunately, he didn't see that line of play. Either case, it's not going to matter because he has a Judgment set. So as soon as opponent activates this creation, he can just negate it with Judgment and the game's over. So realistically, it didn't matter. It just would have been more effective if he used his cards in the case that I explained. So we're going to be going ahead and going into game number 3. And it looks like he drew kind of bad here, honestly. So we're going to go ahead and see what he does here. He's going first as well. So a Dust of Gold is going to be activated here to search for a copy of Dark Calling. And then he can go ahead and use this Dark Calling. I think I probably would have just saved it. Just because there's not really a reason why you want to use the Dark Calling. I know that Bane's really hard to out, but I still think that it is like important to save it for a board, like to attack into a board. So he's going to go ahead and set 2 cards. And if you notice something very important here, he made a very, very hard misplay here with this copy of Bane. So if you don't see it already, I'll probably give you a couple more seconds, but his opponent has a level 1 monster in his hand. So we're going to go ahead and see what that means. And obviously he knows his opponent is playing this card because we saw it in game number 1. So in fact, it was also used on his Bane. So Magician's Souls is going to come down here, sending the Hane to the graveyard, special summoning itself, and then he's going to use the effect to draw 2 cards. He couldn't really do anything about this. The Judgment can't negate the summon since the summon starts a chain. So the Judgment can't negate the souls in either case. So he's going to go ahead and link it off into an Enigma, and obviously he's basically forced to use this Judgment here, which is really unfortunate because if he would have just put this Bane in a far left or right zone or the middle zone, he would have just completely avoided using this Judgment. He could have saved the Judgment for a more impactful card, such as Spell Chronicle. Unfortunately, he just didn't do that. So he's going to pay the life points for the Judgment because he doesn't want his Bane to die, because it's literally like his only life here, basically. So Jenny is going to be normal summoned, and then he's going to link that off into a copy of Enigma and just take it again. Obviously, this Mass Change is going to be chained here, getting rid of the Bane and linking it off into a copy of an Anki. And then he can go ahead and use the Magician's Souls to draw a card. And he's going to make a very risky play here to just go ahead and use this Anima to attack into the Anki. So he's going to take 2,800, and now his board is clear. So TK Bear asks, does Anki activate? And he said, yeah, you can use Anki's effect. So he uses Anki's effect, and he gets hit with the Gamma. Unfortunately for Hexagon, I believe he does misplay here because the Gamma and the Driver were summoned in defense mode, which you can just summon them in attack mode and attack for 1,000 and 2,500. So he just missed out on free damage, basically. Then he can go ahead and go into a copy of Foolish Burial Goods to send a copy of Patronus to the graveyard, which if you're not seeing where this is going, it's going probably exactly where you're thinking. So he's going to use the Spell Chronicle to discard his hand, banish 5 spells out of his hand as well. And guess what is a level 8 Synchro Omega. So he's going to go ahead and make the Omega and get rid of this triple tactics talent, putting TK Bear in a top deck war, basically. Smeta is going to go ahead and send Holiday to the graveyard. Then Jenny is going to be used to special summon a Witchcrafter back from grave, which is Hane, which can pop a face-up card. So as soon as TK Bear summons something, he can just pop it with Hane, and he's free to go here. So in the draw phase, he can use this Patronus to go ahead and just add everything back to hand. Pretty broken. I believe he can add 6 here, which is like insane. Like, that's just crazy that he can add 6 spells. He's actually only going to add 5, it looks like. I believe he can activate any, right? Or target any number. Target any number of your... Okay, they have to be with different names, so he can't target 2 holidays. That's why he didn't add all 6. That makes sense. So this Vion is a amazing top deck. However, the Hane is a problem here. So this Vion is going to be normal summoned here, and it's sending the Shadow Mist to the graveyard. Then he can go ahead and search for a copy of Liquid Soldier, and Vion is going to be using the effect, and that is going... Or before, on the resolution of Shadow Mist, actually... Hexagon is going to be using Hane to pop the Vion, so he won't ever get the search for Poly. Quite unfortunate for him. He's just going to go ahead and pass his turn, which should be game at this point. Unfortunately, if he just would have had a different zone on Bane, I think that he would have had a very better time with this game, because looking at Hexagon's hand, I mean, he can still do the Foolish Burial Spell Chronicle combo, but I think if he just activates Judgment on the Spell Chronicle, he's out of an entire hand, and he's basically in a really rough spot here. So I think that it was a very, very hard misplay on TK Bear's spot, unfortunately for him. Just by putting the Bane in a different zone, it would have just saved him, because the Judgment would have just been used on the Spell Chronicle, most likely, or at least that's what I probably would have done. Just save it for something more impactful like the Spell Chronicle. Which, I mean, in hindsight, obviously that's the play here, but hindsight's 2020, I guess. So he's going to go ahead and pass his turn, and Hexagon's going to drop for turn, and he's going to add back Omega due to its own effect. Unfortunately, that is 5,200 points of damage, so that is going to be enough for a game. So I believe TK Bear just scoops it up here. So a little unfortunate for him. If he just would have, I guess, like, summoned his monster in a correct zone or like in a better zone, then this wouldn't have happened, but that's too bad. With all of that said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and enjoyed this commentary. Like I said, go ahead and join the Discord in the link below and come and play these games with us. It's a lot of fun, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.